You are tuned to WWOZ FM New Orleans, and today I am super fortunate enough to be able to talk with musician Mr. Tyler Janes. Tyler, how are we doing today?
Excellent.
Thank you taking some time out to chat with WWOZ. How long have you been playing music?
Man, music's been in part of my mom's side of the family. So basically my grandpa, I grew up with it. He did big bands in New Orleans. So yeah, basically just growing up, I would always see that. And then my first pursuit of it, I told my grandpa, I'd like to learn saxophone and clarinet. So I think I was around 3rd, 4th, 5th grade that he started officially giving me lessons. Basically since then, that's when I kind of got my foot in the door as far as music, pursuing it.
Did you have more experience with working with your family in music?
It was never quite worked with him, but because of the big bands that he would do, that'd be Mardi Gras balls, part of me growing up, I never quite actually got to play with the big bands. Like I started off with the clarinet, then I made my way to drums and did drumline and stuff. But yeah, I never actually quite played with them, but it was just a part of life.
And then you said you started with clarinet and then you moved to the drums. And how long you were with the drums?
And then drums is what really caught my attention. That was around 6th grade. Have you ever seen the movie called That Thing You Do? There was that movie that sparked it. My older brother had a drum set. So that's what sparked it around 6th grade. Around high school, I went to Jesuit High School in New Orleans. And they had a drum line. And that's when I was like, okay, I want to try out for this drum line. I got lessons. So then that's what got me really delving into drums. Then I went to LSU. It was always like that next level step up. At least for me, it was like LSU drum line's like, okay, it made me just dig in that much deeper in practice. So I had like that drumline aspect, and then for my churches, I'd always start with youth group, drum set, and that just always gave me like Wednesday night with the youth group to be constantly playing as well for drums.
So you were playing music in school, music at church, music at youth group. You were just music all the time.
For sure, yeah. It was just constant. It was fun.
And then you decided to venture out on your own and start writing songs.
Correct. When that came later, the drum gift just kind of flowed fast. It's like I had guitar, the interest to like pick it up. Was around high school, and then like a Dave Matthews style, he caught my attention with, wow, that's really cool. That's beyond just regular chord shapes. So that's when I was like, I want to learn at least the chord shapes he's playing. And then it wasn't until college that I finally was like, let me actually try to like write something. So it was like my 1st or 2nd year of college at LSU. I was like attempted my first song. It kind of stemmed from there, like garage band as well, like playing with recording in garage band. And it was like my first time playing with the ideas of like layered guitars on guitars within a little garage band session. And it was like 4 hours later, I was like consumed with it. I was like, okay, this is something that's a gift, something I want to pursue more.
Now you are a full-blown musician.
Correct. Yeah, it's really cool to see like the small little seeds that are when you're younger, and now it's just like keep taking the next step. One of the ladies that now when I serve on our worship team, she's been a part of it for 5 years. She's the one who kind of opened the door for my first album that I released in 2018. So that kind of like was the next little step for me to start like, let's get a little more serious about writing and recording.
And how many albums do you have?
I have one album that released in 2018. That one was called Magnus. And then the second album I'm working on, have a lot of it written, but there's still the production and studio side of it. The second one's going to be called Color. Have 2 singles released, third one soon to be released, and then just kind of trucking along the way.
How's the response been from your first album and your single?
It's good because honestly, there's growth. I wasn't as comfortable on guitar and singing, which especially singing, it's like your voice is such a vulnerable instrument. I had to grow in that confidence just like it took for drums, but drums had that constant outlet versus singing and guitar playing and all that. I'd never had that constant output. So it was like for that first album, I felt in my sound like, oh, this is cool. Like when I get into the studio, I really feel a flow happening. And now it's like, honestly, I have a home studio set up, and just like my work production's a lot cleaner, I'm just more confident, it's definitely been going really well. And then the feedback, the first song Color is very high energy. So it just kind of like came out the gate. Wow, that's really cool. Tyler's really ready to go to the next level. And then the second song called Upside Down with whole fresh approach, which is kind of more of a poppy style, like a pop style, and just feel good beach almost feel. And I was like, let's just go for it and like just embrace that vibe. So it's been good too, because now it's almost pretty unpredictable, because sometimes I don't even know where it's going to go. But when an idea starts popping, I'm just, I'm going to follow it. So it's been a great response.
It seems like it's a good and hard thing to do, is to just trust the song and see where the song
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, even in my songwriting process, it'll be an idea that kind of paints a picture. Then it's like, I just want to go for it. I really follow the path that it leads.
If people didn't know who Tyler Janes was, to describe your music to them, how would you describe it?
Yeah, if I had to describe my music, like there's certain songs that'll be like Color. And I'd say this, people, when they hear my music, they can definitely tell like I'm a drummer, because it's very rhythmic driven. And of course, like I usually start with the guitar, but it's still just a rhythm. And I don't know, I really hear the rhythm. And as soon as I get a guitar part, I'm immediately going to go to the drums and build it. And so especially in the song Color, there's a lot more than just a drum set. I'm actually adding a lot of almost like African style drums somehow to manage it and fit it in there. I mean, that'd be one way that I could describe it. There's a playfulness, and I think that I want to keep happening. Like, I want it to be fun. I want it to be unpredictable. Part of my personality is when I'm playing drums, I actually feed off of the fun of it. So I'm usually smiling. I'm usually laughing. And, you know, if the bass player is doing something fun, it's going to make me laugh. And then I'm going to follow him, and, like, you know, just kind of snowballs into this experience of music, which is really fun too. So I guess that would be my two best ways.
You would describe it, you just more feel the music.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't really feel bound to a style, because once again, I like to just follow wherever I feel the atmosphere is kind of leading with what the tone is set and whatever mood is set. That's kind of how I do it.
When you write your lyrics, because now you're writing songs, where do you get your inspiration for your lyrics?
I mean, it's going to start with the tone and the mood. Like, I remember my first songs project, one of them was called Flashing Lights. So because it's creating that atmosphere and that mood, well, then I can almost start to picture imagery with it. So Flashing Lights was like my imagery of, like, this song, it kind of pounds and it kind of hits. It kind of reminds me of like the pounding of a wave, like if you're in the middle of a storm. So then I'm just kind of following the imagery of that. And then usually, you know, I'll start hearing melodies will flow, and then maybe a little line, if I just kind of like let myself loose and just start singing something, a little line will kind of catch. And I think, for example, that song, that Flashing Lights, kind of came out because I was playing with that imagery. So then that kind of snowballed into a song being about perseverance and persevering through, you know, the storms and the hard things in life, and how to really like have that security in yourself just to like keep on pressing through when everything around you looks crazy. So kind of like that with the song process. I guess that's the best way I can explain it, just kind of following the trail.
So once again, it sounds like you really trust the music, give you images to give you the words.
Correct. For example, the song Color, I had the beginning concept, I had it like 2 or 3 years ago. And then when I went into the studio, I tried the chorus, what would be a chorus, and it just didn't feel right in the studio. So then I'm just in that play mode and then that's when you'll hear the playful part of the song. And once again, I really trust it and just follow it and just let it kind of breathe. And I like that a lot.
That seems like a hard thing to do as an artist, is trust what's going to happen instead of trying to control it in art, instead of letting the art be you.
It might be a part of my personality too. You know, I'm like the youngest kid, you know, out of 3 other siblings, and maybe I'm just used to kind of going with the flow. So it might play into a personality as well.
You have a new record coming out.
Correct. And that's the record called Color, which was the very first single. Color, as I told you about the playfulness, I wanted to really tap into because I really thrive off of fun. And then the very theme behind it was kind of like celebrating difference and like how each color represents painting in a picture. And it was really cool because this concept came like a year or 2 ago where I was like, that's really cool. Like each color, rather than competing with themselves, if we can just like really embrace what makes you different, what makes each other different. And, you know, it's our unique build. And I believe, you know, it's our God-given build that He built us a certain way. And if we can really just kind of hone into that uniqueness and appreciate everyone's different thing, and all the colors start coming together to paint a complete picture rather than dividing each other and being jealous of a red being jealous of a blue, or, you know, that kind of concept for me.
What I'm getting is there's a lot of positivity throughout your lyrics and your record.
For sure.
Well.
Yeah, for sure.
So when is Colors going to be released?
The single's released, the second single's released, the third single's coming. The rest of the songs are written, but there is a production process. And I actually just have one producer. I do a lot of it myself, and then I'll pass it to my producer. So it really, like, the music kind of defines how long it takes,
okay,
depending how big the song is. So the third song that's going to be released soon, it's called Dressed in White. It's very stripped, very simple. So it only took a month versus Color it's very big. It took us about 6-7 months. Just because it was so in-depth and it's trying some new things within the music that my producer kind of had to figure out how to manage it all. So it really depends. I could say like maybe a guesstimate 6 months out, 9 months out. It just depends on how big I keep writing or small.
Are you just going to release the singles as they come and then at the end bring them all together into an album form?
I think so. I think at least I got 3 more that I would like. Like if we have this next one, I got at least 2 more I'd want to do. And then maybe I'll just hold off for a while and see if we can just pound it out. Okay, 5 songs, singles, and now let's just pound it out for 10, 11, 12 song record.
Are you choosing to do this because this is how you want to record the songs, or are you choosing it because this is how people listen to music?
It's a little bit of both, honestly. First song, Color. Yeah, I definitely want to start with this song. The second single, Towards Color, called Upside Down. It was one of those songs that flowed way fast and it kind of came out of nowheres. I think it was 3 months ago. I told my producer, like, hey, can we just like jump straight on this one? So there's kind of like this flexibility of like, okay, this came out of nowheres, but let's go for it because it's definitely something fresh and new for me. So I think it's just I enjoy the idea of singles because it let you like focus in on the song, embrace the song, enjoy the album artwork and the message behind that song versus, you know, when I release an album, it is a little harder if you're not totally invested in who I am to like let me invest a full hour of my time into your music. So I do enjoy the singles.
If people want to find out more information about Tyler online, where can they find you?
I just have my website, tylerjanes.com.
Great. Tyler, thank you so much for taking some time out to talk with the listeners at WWOZ. And congratulations on your new singles. Look forward to hearing the new record.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
All right.